request if this property was viable to actually gain the access and develop on, of which they did issue a permit for that, and we went through the proper channels and purchased wetland credits and all the other criteria that they requested of us. And based upon that, now we're here in front of the ZBOA to continue the process because it was submitted the initial application. We were notified we needed to present this as a special use.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Mr. Beaufort? I had one question for him.
The permit from the Army Corps of Engineers, would you have to complete the project in 1 year?
Project completion, sir, was slated for a year and/or unless you're under contract. And due to COVID and all the other parameters right now, I double checked, and it is written, I think, in the third or fourth paragraph that as long as we have started and/or under contract prior to the March expiration, we can.
Because that's expired technically, right? But then there might be a year period so long as.
The development is completed, yes, sir.
Right.
Yep.
Question, once I get back to my question, I did have a question for you, but, and do anyone else have any questions for the applicant? All right, we'd like to hear from the county. Thank you, Mr.
The applicant came in front of the zoning, the
Question?
staff review team, and we reviewed, and this access is needed for this, to get to this property. Apparently, when the developer did Crescent, that was labeled future development, and they never came back to do anything, so that parcel is just sitting there by itself, and he needs this bridge to get over the wetland to get to the property, so we recommended approval.
So without this, no use. I guess without having this bridge, there's no use of the property.
Right, he wouldn't be able to, there would be no access to the property. Fire marshal would not be able to get over if they did decide to build a house, so, yeah.
Anyone else have any questions for the county? Well, this clearly looks like one of those classic situations that definitely deserve a special use permit.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Hillary. I guess with that being said, clearly this is one of those properties without having a special use permit. I mean, it's of no use. So with that being said, if anyone else, we can open this up for discussion, or we can put a motion out.
I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
to approve the special use permit that's in front of us, set forth in Division 7.2.130 of the CDC, as recommended by the SRT.
I'll second that.
So motion has been made to approve this special use permit, and second, and all in favor of the motion, signify by your right hand, your hands. So it's been passed that this special use has been approved, so I guess you can follow with the county from this point on, and they'll instruct you in where you go from this point. Is there any, hold on,
Oh, we didn't do
public comment for this?
Public comment.
No public comment?
Motion.
Close public comment segment. Please, somebody keep me. All right, sir, but the county will, you can just get back with the county, and they'll, let you know where you go at from this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna move on now to item number 8, Mr. and Mrs. Grattan. They're requesting a variance to construct a carport 3 feet from the side property line. Property is located at Old Plantation Drive, Ladies Island. come forward and let us know. Purpose of being here.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight. Yeah, the purpose of us coming here, my wife and I, is to, we're requesting a variance to put a carport garage 3 feet off our property line at 200 Old Plantation Drive on Ladies Island. I did receive your comments back from the summary of our request. And in there it says I have a lot of property. And yes, I do have a lot of property, but my property is very, very tight. On the right-hand side of our building, I have a 10-foot 1-inch setback from there, so I can't really put anything on the right-hand side of the property. In the front of the property, I have my septic tank and my drain field, and I wouldn't be putting anything in the front of the property, or the garage or carport, which I really don't want to do anyway, because I don't want to block the view of the house. And in the back where I have the property, if I went 10 feet on the original setback, it would sit behind the house, partially behind the house. And I wouldn't be able to back my boat in, back our trailer into that area and stuff. So that's why I'm requesting the 3 foot to put it that way there, it lines up more with our driveway, because our driveway is right on the edge of our property. I did look at possibly moving the garage carport area back a little bit, and it was about 55 feet where I felt comfortable being able to back my boat in to get to that area. Unfortunately, in that area there's a large oak tree, live oak tree, that's on the Bowman property, which is to my left, right on the property line, and the limbs and everything overhang that area there. That if I did construct my building in that area, then I'd probably be encroaching in on the limbs of the tree, and also digging into the roots of the oak tree, which I really don't want to do. It's a large oak tree. So my biggest thing is looking at what I have. I think that my 3 foot setback, the way it lines up with my garage and my driveway, I think that's the best place for me to put this.
Is there any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Sir.
This is Walling Grove, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there's covenants out there about what you can and
Yes.
can't do. Do you have anything from the POA?
Yes, I
supporting
do.
you?
I got this after I submitted. Want me to read it or give it to you?
No, you can bring it in.
Read it?
No, you
Okay.
can.
I think we got a copy of this, didn't we?
You do have. I don't think you do.
Yeah, I think we got two of it.
Basically, what it states is that they are, the Walling Grove ARB follows the Beaufort County regulations. If the county consents to the variance, then the ARB would also grant that variance.
Is there any setbacks that you are aware of within the covenants of Walling Grove?
Not that I know of.
What was that question?
The Walling Grove setbacks were,
They're 10
10
feet.
foot?
they're 10 feet,
Let me see.
and they
A
allow
modulation
a
of 25%.
25%.
Yeah,
That's 20 foot, which is still.
about 7.
7 feet.
7, yeah.
7.5.
Right. You know, before we go any further, I guess, yeah, I'd like to hear from the county too, then we can probably come back to him. All right, so do we have any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we hear from the county?
County recommended disapproval because, well, number one, I found those covenants and restrictions that said only 25% of variance can be granted, so that would put him at 6.5 feet. The county is allowed to do a 3 foot modulation or 20%, whichever is greater. But because of these covenants that states that he can only get 25%, I can't help him.
So that 25% will be what?
His
In between
25% would be
70.
2.5.
So that's
his-
7.5 feet
Yeah,
off
seven
from
and a
the-
half feet, yeah,
From the property line.
from the property line, yes.
And
And, you know, I wish he had shown us the tree and all that stuff that he's talking about, because
Right,
doesn't
that's what I
show
was,
anything,
a tree and
so-
topo survey would be
yeah,
very helpful.
And sometimes you can limb a tree and not kill it and put your garage, so it's hard to, and I don't, the property is almost an acre and a half, I mean, it's big enough to accommodate the garage and meet the setbacks.
Would it be better just from a perspective, instead of going towards the critical line, keeping it back? I was trying to think of
Well,
what they,
He's about, I don't have a measurement here, but he's
Way off the field.
way far from the.
oh, right, but isn't it better to be farther if he had to move it back and take out a
would
big
say
oak
just
tree?
back
I was
about
thinking,
Maybe
the
4
trade-off.
feet and then a little bit over and meet the 25% that they can give him.
So you're saying if he was at 7 feet, we could live with that?
And I could have granted a modulation to a
Right.
10-foot
Okay.
setback if the covenants didn't say, mine is 3 feet or 20%, whichever is greater, so,
Right.
yeah.
So the 25% would be would be his best interest, I guess.
I feel like we need a little bit more information before we can make a decision on that tree and what's going on with that.
Well, I'm not sure we can go against their covenants.
Right.
So-
There's no
Huh?
25 is the most that we could give him, because we can go
We
outside
can,
the covenant.
yeah, maybe grant the 25% if we wanted to grant a waiver, a
and just to make
variance, yeah.
sure I'm clear, the letter from the ARB was just stating that they would grant their variance to the full
If
extent
we
they could.
grant ours,
If you
normally
grant-
that's not the way. If they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the
that-
covenants, they're supposed to grant
Yeah,
variance.
no, and they can
and
waive
then
their
come to
setback.
us. Yeah.
And I'm not aware that they've done that.
Huh?
They can waive their setback.
They can waive it 25%
Yeah.
according to the covenants, yes.
And we can only modulate
3 feet.
3 feet.
Yes.
So you're looking at a 2.5 versus 3 feet. I mean, anywhere in there,
Yeah,
if he can fit it in
So
there.
it'd still be 7 feet from the side setback.
Yeah.
And would that be, would that be enough for him to do what he's,
Well, he can
But yeah,
answer
He talks
that.
about a tree, but we don't know where that tree is. The plat doesn't show any of that stuff, so I don't know.
Well, let's bring him back up here then. Thank you. Excuse me, could you, come back? No, we're not open. Are you here for public comment?
I'm sorry. I
No.
thought it was number 9. and-
No, we're not at public comment yet.
Thank you.
So, your covenant says that they can give you 25% of your side setback, which is 2.5 feet maybe. And the county could modulate 3 feet from your side property line. Is that something that you could work with?
So you're saying I can move a setback from Walling Grove, I can do it 2.5 feet instead of the 3?
No, you have to be 7.5 or 7 feet from the property line. Do you have anything prohibiting you from? Because
Again, in that area there too, it's still, the shop would be behind the house, so I will have to move it back.
okay,
But that's the most that we can do because of the covenants.
right. I mean, you do have covenants that pretty much states that you have to abide by the 25 feet,
Right.
25%, I mean.
Okay, but if the county would say I could go to the 3 foot, then our covenant, they would override our covenants, correct?
No.
Yeah, but it's
The
not our
county doesn't have
custom
the
to
power to
override
go to-
the POA's covenant.
if they would grant a variance, if we granted up to 3 feet, with our powers, I mean, if they would if that's what they wanted to see before they granted it, I'm not sure, but right here, they'd have to amend it or do some sort of, because the hardship is, that they discuss seems to be just for that 25%. Right? Okay, I was just making sure of that.
How far back is this tree from where you're currently at?
About 55 feet.
55 feet?
Correct.
So you could certainly move it back 20 feet, 25 feet.
I could, but I'm still getting into the canopy of the tree.
So you don't wanna, well, I'm not telling you what to do, but so
Right.
trimming your tree is not a option for you, or?
It's basically a tree that's shared by the Bowmans and ours. It's on the Bowman property itself, but most of the limbs are on that. And it's a huge live oak, and I know Ms. Bowman has the size of it and some photos of it, that if you'd like to see that.
No, well, I'm just trying to get to the
I just
hardship
don't,
here.
I mean, it's a beautiful live oak. I don't want to cut anything.
Okay.
I don't want to trim it up.
But we're limited to giving you 7 feet because of the covenants and,
And actually, it's 7.5 feet.
right,
We give you 7, we're giving you an extra half a foot.
yeah.
In other words, we just, we're trying to work with you.
I understand.
But we're trying to find your hardship here as well.
Right.
Based on what we have to grant a variance, I'm struggling with the hardship.
Okay.
Because, you have the property, you have room there.
Yeah, I have 1.6 acres out there. I understand.
Yeah.
I do. And but it's just the way this building was set up with the house and stuff. And it's not quite, like I said, my sides are very, very limited and very, very
Right.
tight. And I can do something. I can make a concrete road all the way down to the critical line and stuff. But I don't want to do that. I want to try to make it look good with the house and try to make it look good with the neighborhood.
Would it block the views of the neighbors if you moved it back,
As right now, there's no home next to me on the one side. So
Right. Well, in your current plan, how far is it away from the house now? You can't tell by looking at this. Sideways. To the left and right.
I say my driveway is 15 foot, so I'm 3 foot off, and the building is
16 feet.
16 going across. So it's basically, I'd say probably 2 feet off the corner of the house in the back. That's where it's at now. And if I move it over to the 7 more feet, then I'd be probably 9 to 10 foot behind the house.
But you certainly can move it 4 feet. Is it compromised?
And that'd get me to 6 feet behind the house, and then I'd still have to move it back somewhere back.
Is this a building you bringing in or something you're gonna construct yourself?
Something I'm gonna construct.
So you can almost work with your size of your building to accommodate your side setback as well, huh?
I understand that, I'm sorry.
it's only a
Maybe-
one car.
I'll make it smaller, you mean?
Smaller, yeah.
It's
You know what?
Yeah, it's
16.
Make it
16
smaller
for
width
one car.
wide. You can make it longer.
You gotta be able to get,
Well, I guess at the end of the day, where we're at is, can you work with the 7 feet off of the property, side property?
Yeah, I guess if that's what I have to work with, then that's what I have to work with.
so that's a 4 foot difference, correct, from you wanted a 3 foot and we can give, you wanted a 7 foot and we can give 3 feet, so that's a 4 foot difference in the width.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. As long as it's, 7 feet off from the side property line. So with that being said, you really don't need a variance if you can work within that. Because the county can offer that modulation.
That's all I can get, and I guess that's all I can get,
Yeah, so, so with that being said, you can just go back with the county and they can, do that in the zoning department. So you wouldn't need a variance.
But is it still usable in that area if you only have the four?
I'll have to push
The
it back
3
still.
feet.
I still have to push it back. I didn't know the 7 foot. I can figure out the 7 foot to see how much I have to push it back now to make it work. And, but I know I'm still pushing it back, so.
So that's you're gonna just go ahead back to the county and work with the 7 feet? I mean, because based on the covenant and based on what the county can do, I think, you can almost, if you can work with the 7 foot there, that would be your best option. Based on what I'm seeing before me here. So you need to,
I guess I got a question too of the county and stuff. When I went to them originally, Ms. Hillary said that she could give me the 3 foot. And that's why I'm here this evening.
she said she could give you the 3 foot?
3 foot from the 10, which
We'd
means
set-
7.
3 foot from the property line.
No.
No.
3 foot from the 10 feet, which is that's the
7 feet.
modulation, that's what, so you want us to withdraw your application?
Not right now. I'd like to have the public comment first, and after that, we'll.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, you have
So
another
you've got the full 10 feet on both sides of the house. Yes, 10 and 1, and, okay, never mind.
Correct, yes.
I'm sorry.
All right, well, any more questions? Thank you.
Yep.
So now we open for public comment, which is item number 9. Miss Amy Bowman.
My apologies for coming up sooner. I saw I just.
Saw the green light,
My
huh?
turn. I apologize for that. I'm Amy Bowman. I own the lot 204 Old Plantation Drive, which is right next to Jay and Cindy Grattan. When the variance request was, that process was in motion, Jay and Cindy approached us, my husband and I, Craig, to see if we were okay with the variance. We supported the variance because the Grattan's driveway is on the property line. The driveway sits directly on the property line. The tree that's in question is shared by both of us. I have the tree and topo that we had done in 2019 when we purchased the lot. The base of the tree is 55 inches in diameter. That's how large it is. So that root system is expansive. So where he is wanting to place that detached garage area is directly right behind where that driveway is that sits on the property line. Aesthetically, it makes sense for it to be there, but more importantly, it's going to keep there from being any interference with that tree that both of us share. Okay, that tree is my main concern. It's very large. We've taken a lot of time to make sure we've had tree companies out. It's been supported. So I would just ask if it is possible. I certainly understand that there are regulations, but please know where that driveway sits. That driveway is right on the property line, and all he is wanting to do is put that detached garage just right behind where that driveway sits right now. And we absolutely, as his neighbors, support that happening.
And that'd be the least impactful.
Sir?
That would be the least impactful.
The least
on the-
impactful, aesthetically, least impactful as well. But I do have the tree and topo if you want to review that to see the diameter of the tree if you need that.
Is that tree topo right there?
Is his house on it?
Ma'am?
Is his house on it?
The
corner of it? It is the tree that is 55 inches in. We own both lots that we joined into So it's one.
That's the tree right there. And the driveway,
So that's his building
That's
line right
right
there. That's the corner of his
The front of their
house.
lot looks like it's cut off on that one side, like.
I mean, you
it's-
step off of his driveway and you are in our property.
Yeah,
Literally.
That's
like
kinda
one
tough.
to the next.
Where back's that tree?
But my understanding is that we don't have authority to change the covenants of the neighborhood.
Correct.
From a variance standpoint, if we were to grant a variance, just say we were this hypothetical,
But
to be allowed that, could we say based on the approval of the Walling Grove?
But they sent us here. I think that's important to note, that we've already spoken with Chuck Knox, the president of the HOA. We've talked to the ARB. All of them directed us your way, that said, as long as the variance was granted, as long as as the neighbors have no problem, that's why they contacted us, the president of the HOA. We told them we absolutely supported the variance, so it's kind of going back and forth.
Right, and
All right, so they're telling us to come here, thus,
but if
Ma'am, is
we,
the HOA aware that there is covenants on this? Are they aware of it?
The president of the HOA has been the president for well over 5 or 6 years, so they're not new to it.
I mean, if we were to find a hardship to be able to keep, to minimize the impact of the trees, and keep it not from going farther towards the river, I'm asking y'all this too. Could we, if we were a variance find hardship, could we, based on the approval of the Walling Grove Property Owners Association?
We can't go further than Welling Grove, of the covenants of the land.
Right. That's what
Welling
I'm.
Grove, can waive setbacks, and it has and does, and got one right here that they've done before where the ARC waived a setback for a violation. I haven't seen anything official like that indication from the ARC of Welling Grove. They could certainly put that they file.
Just because we have not built on that lot, we have spoken with the ARB personally for our own, when we're getting ready to pull the trigger for our own. That building has been discussed with us multiple times, just from the ARB and from the HOA, just to make sure that we're okay. And I sent an email in when I received notification via mail about the variance request. So from the neighbor's standpoint, from that, sharing that tree, knowing that driveway right now literally sits on our property line, that you take one step off of the Grattan's driveway and you are on our lot. That detached structure is just to go nicely right between where that live oak is, not impeding that live oak, and right at the edge of his driveway. It just makes sense that it's possible.
But
I'd like to, let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
The ARB set that rule, correct? About the setback?
Variance.
No,
They have no rule?
25%.
Yeah, the 25%.
Yeah,
The
yeah, they have
covenants.
It's in the covenant.
Yeah, it's in the covenant.
Okay. What I'm asking is, that's their rule.
So you got the covenant?
With all due respect, they said that
Chairman.
this is your
I'm
call.
making sure I
not
don't put anything
their
else.
call.
But that's
what I'm
wrong.
saying-
It's really their call
their
first,
call.
and then we make the
And it
variance.
puts us in a very precarious position, with all due respect, because we're trying to follow the protocol of doing, as neighbors, answering emails saying, do you support? I answer emails, I'm attending this meeting after work. We've let the ARB, the HOA, and everyone know.
I think
Why-
ultimately the question is more addressed to Mr. Grattan, not to you. It's
Yeah.
to waive the setback.
What he said is Mr. Grattan is the applicant. So, at the end of the day, the explanation, all she's here to is to have,
I mean,
to
she's
say
the
what she
messenger.
wants to say. And then, if she's finished, then, but she's not the applicant.
Are you the side that hasn't built yet? Are you the vacant lot or?
I have not built yet. no,
Okay,
ma'am.
so you are the vacant lot and your house, I presume, will go farther.
Yeah, we are the
On the other
ones
side
that
of the
this will impact. We will directly be the neighbor facing, that this will be to our side, this
And
structure.
their driveway's already on the line.
Yeah, their driveway is
Already
already
on the line.
This
That's
has
what-
been on the line.
So there's enough property there, you're gonna move your house, so if someone drove down the street, they're gonna think,
Right,
There's more
our
space.
house will not, we combined 2 1-acre lots, so our house will not span the
okay.
entirety. We will be more central and our driveway will be down the middle.
So nobody's gonna know he's that close to the lot line that drives by. It's not gonna look crowded. Okay.
The reason I asked what I asked was because Mr. Mitchell made a good suggestion about, given that they changed their rule, we could do this, given that they changed their rule. I want to see that coming the opposite direction, that they change the rule and then request of us, rather than us putting it out there and then they changing. Let's put the responsibility on who has the regulation. They have the regulation, so what they could say to you, sir, is, you know, this is okay given that we
And
support it.
This
See
is
what
a
I'm
hardship,
saying?
and
That
then
they
come back
change
as a
their
hardship, and we
regulation,
could make that
and
decision.
then we get another decision to make. Better than us doing it and having them do it, because it's your regulation, it's not ours.
If the county would support it, they would support it.
Exactly. So I'm saying.
And they can support it, you know.
And I certainly respect, this is Mr.
Yeah, are you finished with your public
It's
comment?
not mine, but just so we, as the neighbor, we have a clear understanding. So at this point, for Mr. or Mrs. Grattan and for myself, is this going to be in writing, I guess, for us to relay what they are wanting us, we're just kind of caught in the middle here. With all
No,
due
we understand.
respect,
You're supportive,
on
so
what
that's,
needs
that's
to
good.
happen.
Are you finished with your public comment? Okay, thank you.
Get my tree and topo back.
There you go.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. David Irwin? Irwin?
Irwin. My wife and I are the abutters on the
You
other
can
side.
come forward, reset.
We certainly have no objection to this, to granting the
Derek,
variance here.
and you said you are the,
We're the abutters on the eastern side,
okay.
so the abutters on both sides are in favor of this, granting this.
Thank you. So now let's
I would certainly,
close the public comment. Is anyone else for public comment for this item? All right, well, we're gonna close that public comment for the, where's my pen?
I have a question for the county.
Okay. All right, one more question for the county.
Hillary, on these covenants, they were done in August of 1989. Were they made part of the comprehensive plan when it was written?
as a P,
No, they're part of the, what do you call
the
it?
AR,
Wallen Grove?
Walling Grove.
Walling
So
Groves.
do they stand forever is what I'm getting
Yeah,
at?
Yeah.
they,
yeah.
if you look at the last or second to last page, it continues.
Because a lot of those
Renews
expire,
itself.
you know, like a
It
lot
does.
of the
It does
other
renew
old ones.
itself.
It renews itself, every
Okay.
10 years.
All right. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, these covenants are to run with the land and automatically extend up. They were run through December 2009, after which time said covenants and restrictions shall be automatically extended for periods of successive periods of 10 years. Unless an instrument is signed by 60% of the property owners within Walling Grove to change anything.
Okay.
You know, if we did find a hardship and thought we could say, you know, we would grant that variance, but we don't have the authority to override the covenants, that would it just push it onto the covenants, or would that put us in conflict with it could potentially put us
I
in,
think it will. The
Okay,
state
that-
says
that's
we
what I
don't
thought.
do
I was
anything
just-
that's contrary to covenants and restrictions.
right, because they entered into that when they moved in.
And,
But they
and
could come back with the covenant, with the property owner association,
They come
have
back
come
with the
back and said
property owner
that they would
association.
support 3 foot since the driveway's already
Give
there.
them the variance for
Right,
whatever it is.
then we could come back for a variance and decide if we wanted to grant one. Okay,
and just so I'm clear, the setback on under the covenants is 25%, right?
Yes, that's what it,
You can
Yeah.
grant a waiver of they can grant a variance of 25% of the 10-foot setback.
Yeah, but the county can only grant a modulation of
I
twenty
can grant a
percent,
modulation of 3
3
feet or 20%, whichever
Whichever.
is greater.
which is.
3
3
feet
feet.
straighter. It was 2.5 and 3 feet, I think.
Just wanted to clarify.
And my next question is, their driveway's already on the 3-foot.
Driveways are
Yeah.
not structures.
Okay, I just,
They don't count as buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be up to the property lines, just like a
Okay.
fence.
Unless the covenants say something different.
yeah, unless
Right.
it specifically. So, okay.
So I guess one or two things. We can rule on based on what's before us today, what's before us now? Or would the applicant, would you like to
Continue it and go back to the
Yeah, I think
neighborhood.
that, I guess I'd like to go back to our HOA and ask them to come out and look and see what our hardship is with that tree and kind of see if they can grant me the 3-foot variance, and then obviously I'll come back.
Mr. Grattan, this is an example of a waiver of a setback that Wallen Grove has entered into before. Ultimately,
non-conforming
it's a
structure.
public record. It's a waiver of a setback for the developer earlier,
That'd
and
be a
that's
good avenue.
well. That's why I'm saying this is what he needs. I would suppose he needs to come to us with
Yeah.
is a waiver from the ARC. Obviously, it might not be. That's recorded in the Register of Deeds. This might not be because you're not at the point where we're ready to go, but
Right.
that something executed by the ARC or on behalf of the association would provide pretty good evidence of their intent.
But at least you have a solution that meets your need, hopefully.
Correct. Hopefully,
You know.
yep, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So at this point, you want us to just continue this until what, for 2 months, or how long do you
Or-
think this would?
Well, I guess when can I come back to you guys would be
It'd be a month.
a month.
If you continued it, if we all voted and said no, because we're in conflict directly with what we've got in front of us, with the covenants, you'd have to wait a year. So if you were going back to them to get the appropriate paperwork, you probably want to continue it if you wanted to come
All
back.
he would have to do is go back to Hillary or the zoning, correct, with that because she could grant
Well,
the
it depends
modulation.
on how much they're giving.
He can only do 3 feet. We'd have to give him a larger one based on the hardship.
Or could you do that with the modulation? Is that-
No, she could only give 3.
Not all the way up to 3 feet from the property line. I can't
No,
go
Yeah.
back.
no, but the 3 feet, okay.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the tree on his property so that we can see how far we are from that tree.
So y'all can
And
reassess.
I want to know where that tree is in relationship. If that's gonna be the hardship, he needs to prove it.
Sure.
Okay.
So how long so we want to just continue this for the next month and?
Yeah, I'll say for next month. Can you continue for
Okay.
next month?
We will
And
continue.
you'll have to
this.
get with Hillary to get it in, so they can do the proper notice and.
Right, right.
Okay.
All right, so we'll continue this for our next month meeting.
Okay.
I guess we need to put a
And
motion.
then, so would he be providing we're looking for a tree and topo?
Yeah, we're looking
And
for.
And I
a
don't-
waiver
and-
from the ARB
Correct.
of their setback
So
violation?
further information would be where the tree is, and then
Yeah.
the paperwork would be the waiver from.
Yeah,
or
and I would say just the location of that one tree, that he wouldn't have to have the entire property.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, and the house marked.
Okay.
Well.
That's enough I need. I don't know if y'all,
Make a motion to table.
Yeah, let's make a motion to for the
I'll
continuance.
make a motion to table. Is that a good way of saying it? To table this
For our next,
request
yes.
Until he's able to gather
until
information and
he's
get
able
the
to
notice
gather
for the next meeting.
information. Should we set a limit on that?
I think you want to continue it, not table it, because, and then in your motion, we want to state those requesting information as well.
So we'll approve the continuance that he's asking for.
Correct.
Yeah, and well, okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, okay, well, I would move to continue the hearing on this matter, and in the interim, the applicant would be providing a waiver from the ARB of any setback requirements, some type of survey of the tree in location, in its location in relation to the house, and
To prove a hardship.
any other evidence of hardship that you plan on claiming or finding supporting evidence for prior to the meeting.
So a motion.
I'll second it.
On the floor to continue this. You seconded it?
I second
All
it.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now you have 30 days, well, until our next meeting
Okay.
to support those information before us, and we put you on our next month meeting agenda.
All right. Will I get information from you after this meeting or no?
Now, what kind of information? you
Well, our
have?
meeting minutes won't be approved, so we wouldn't have a.
I just wonder if there's anything I need to do that, if I need to go to Miss Hillary and go back to her and then. go-
Yeah, that's,
me the stuff that
they're
Yeah, that we're asking.
and I'll get it to them.
Okay,
yeah,
I get you. All right. Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Surveys
All right.
like unrealistic in 30 days.
Item number 10,
Get in time to
David Rowe.
For one
Or
tree, they might
getting somebody lined up to take about 6 months.
So, item number 10, he's not here. Number 11, no public comment. Old business. Any old business? New business. So what we need to do is vote for a vice chair for this board, because this board currently does not have a vice chair. I would say I not, can I get if someone else want to volunteer to be the vice chair?
I'll be vice chair if nobody else wants to.
Thank you, so, you want to put a motion in that,
Sure.
move that Jane be the vice chair.
okay, it's been voted, it's been made and second, all in favor of Ms. Jane being the vice
Absolutely
chair?
not. No, I'm just kidding.
So now you are the vice chair, thank you for stepping up.
I have a question, Hillary. Since Mr. Rowe did not show up, does this just go away or can he come at some other time?
I mean, we can't make a decision. I mean,
Make a decision.
We had,
He doesn't have to be here.
Okay.
I think we would still, met it still before.
I thought, but before we just tabled it because there was no
Yeah,
representation.
I don't know if it's what the standard of trying and abstention.
For a month.
Right.
It's,
In the
I was on
future,
the
what we've
jury.
done is just give them until next month to see if they're gonna respond back.
continue it?
Yeah.
And if he wants us to try it without it, then we can't, without
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I definitely wouldn't wanna,
We didn't know why the guy.
so I get someone to make a
Do
motion
what I
to
did
adjourn?
last month and get the.
Wait. Are you voting to continue
Oh,
number 10?
number 10, yes.
Okay, so
So
who
let
made
me
the
get-
motion?
I made the motion.
Continue number 10, it's been made, motion been made, who's gonna second it?
Second.
All in favor? No, yes.
And we read it.
question for my own editor.
Adjourn?
Yeah,
Maybe I should wait after.
does this need to be on the? Okay, so let's go ahead and put a motion to adjourn, let's,
So
maybe
moved.
we can,
Jane?
All in favor?
it's been made and who seconded it?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So, adjournment.